line of the Stanford Cardinal will need to be aware of.
It's a bit windy, though the wind has died down as we take a look at the temperature. 62 degrees, clear skies. It is a beautiful November evening, and we are underway. Notre Dame with the first touch. Irish in white, Cardinal in black. Here we go. Be a throw here for Cleary. Will convert it to outside back when he got to the farm. Was a midfielder by trade initially. Trying to play one here for Green. Oh, looked like he might have had an opportunity to boot that one towards goal with his left, and then it took a funky hop.
You mentioned the 4-1 of Notre Dame. That's different than the last game that they came off of. Against Duke, they were playing a 4-4-2, which is very similar to, or exactly, what the Stanford Cardinal play, and they were struggling against Duke just to keep possession, to penetrate into that attacking third. So a little change in formation. They're hoping to exploit different spaces with that.
Yeah, it was not a pretty result against third-seeded and second-ranked Duke. They lost 4-0 to the Blue Devils in Durham.
And I will say it was 1-0 at halftime, but that 4-0 is pretty reflective of how that game went. Duke was in full control.
Yeah, the Irish conceding goals in the 51st, 83rd, and 88th minute in that second half after being down just 1 at the break. Here's Vasos. Goalkeeper for Cal. Again, for Notre Dame, I should say, former goalkeeper for Cal. He spent 4 years there, redshirted a season, and then started at least half of the games or more than half for the last 3 seasons. Graduated from Cal December of 2022. Then got a master's at UNC. Cleary on the throw in here. Hooper. A high pressure here from Rue. Irish able to win the ball back in midfield. Irish will get a throw out of this. This will be Kyle Genenbacher, who normally wears number 5. He's wearing number 25 today. The senior from Farmington, Missouri. Third-team All-ACC selection last year, and had a really good ACC tournament. A goal and assist in the quarters against Louisville. They're right back, and now here's Jackson Keel, who's missed a couple of games recently due to red card suspension.
Yeah, that was a straight red card that time. Obviously, in the pregame, we saw the first red card Jackson Keel was awarded. That came from 2 yellows. This one, a straight red, 2-game suspension. Sometimes that happens when they go back and they look at the straight red. They can add an extra game of suspension onto it. Can kind of be an accumulation prize, if you will, as well, in terms of yellow cards. But you mentioned Jackson Keel. This is the first time Jackson Keel and Zach Bohane have been in the starting lineup together for the Stanford Cardinal since North Carolina State. That's almost a month and a half ago. Bohane got hurt. He was out for 3 to 4 games. Last game was the first game he was able to start. Jackson Keel was serving game number 2 suspension of that red card. So we talk about that 6-game slide where it was 3 losses and 3 draws for the Stanford Cardinal to close out the regular season. That was actually the 6 games that they didn't have Keel and Bohane in that starting lineup. They were working with a shallower bench than they're used to.
Yeah, as a result, the goals went down, the goal production for the Cardinal. They scored 26 on the season. Notre Dame scored 34, but with all due respect to the Fighting Irish and their opponents, there probably should be a bit of an asterisk there. They scored 6 against Chicago State and 7 against Trine. And let's just say they are not the biggest powerhouses of men's soccer, those two. But a very good side nonetheless. Of course, this is a Notre Dame team that went all the way to the College Cup final last year, losing an All-ACC battle with Clemson. A very good side, but they come in at 7-4-5 with an RPI of 34. And the thinking is, if they win this one, they're in the NCAA tournament. Feel a lot better about things. Stanford has an RPI of 13. They are clearly through to the NCAAs, but this is about better seeding for Stanford and potentially being able to host more home matches in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely, and it has to be said, with the travel in the ACC, the more you can host deeper into the season, the better. That's always the case, but when you think about the travel that's been put on the bodies of all of these athletes in terms of flying East Coast to West Coast as many times as they really have, it's just an extra advantage that they could really stand for.
6th minute of action here, and normally at Stanford, the count clocks up. Let me try that again. The clock counts up, yeah. But in postseason play, the clock counts down, which not the biggest fan of. Soccer's a counting up sport, if you ask me. I
would agree with that, and I'm actually happy that you mentioned it, because if I was just tuning in right now, I'd say, why are we in the 39th minute when I was told this game started at 6 p.m.?
So, nonetheless, so we have a free kick here for the Cardinal. And it is Dylan Hooper standing over the ball. Looks like he's going to be setting one up to send it into the area.
Yeah, keep an eye on number 2, Noah Adnan, running in net right now, and they'll go short, but they'll look back post now from Will Cleary. Adnan's that tall center back.
But it's going to go right to Travasos.
Adnan, one of the captains, one of the 2 seniors starting on the Stanford Cardinal, one of the 2 captains, and he's got 2 goals on the year already. They both have come off of set pieces, kind of like that, where they throw him onto the back post and he can use his height to get onto that back post, get onto the ball, and use his head to find the back of the net.
And one of the 2 captains on this team alongside Will Riley. Noah, with 2 goals this year, had 4 last year when he was 2nd team all Pac-12 in there, or last year in the Pac-12. Now the Cardinal trying to accomplish greatness, as the ACC slogan goes. Bohane. Hooper trying to play one over the top, looking for Fletcher Bank. And Sarah, they really love having the Bank brothers operate on that left side of the pitch.
Yeah, so dangerous down that left-hand side. They play so differently. Palmer Bank in that left back position, Fletcher Bank, number 7, in that left wing position, chasing now. And Fletcher, he's the assist leader on this team, and it's because of what he can do down that left flank. He can take players on, take it to end line, and then send those crosses in. And Stanford are so good in the air. That's why they're so good off of set pieces as well, that if you're Fletcher Bank, it makes for an easy job. You just send it in, and you end up with the assist.
A possession here for Notre Dame. Ian Shaw plays kind of like the 10 role for them, a freshman from North St. Paul, Minnesota. Very beautiful area there in the Midwest. Had a 2-assist game against Chicago State earlier this year. 2 of his 3 assists coming in that contest, as that one will go over the head of Sebastian Green for a Cardinal throw.
And you mentioned Fletcher Bank on that left side for the Cardinal. Also want to mention Zach Bohane, once again, he's playing on that right flank, number 10 for the Stanford Cardinal here, and they have certainly missed him. The last game of the regular season against Cal was his first game back starting, but his first game back from injury, he got some sub minutes against University of North Carolina, or excuse me, yeah, against University of North Carolina. He got an 88th minute goal. It's just that production. It's just that extra dynamic. He's so creative. He can play in the 10. He can play in the 8. Right now he's playing in that right wing. He adds that dynamic that Stanford really have been missing for those past 6 games.
Yeah, the Cardinal were trailing 2-0 until the final 2 minutes of that one against North Carolina. Back to goal. Jackson Keel has a shot blocked. And got that late goal from Bohane. Had maybe one more opportunity after that, but never seriously threatened, as the Tar Heels got a well-earned 2-1 victory right here in enemy territory the last Sunday in October. And the Cardinal lost to Cal last Friday, 1-0. And Jeremy Gunn said post-match, you could read this in the game recap, that just tactically Stanford made a mistake in that game. And so they weren't expecting Cal to play the way they did. And look, the Golden Bears, how about Cal, huh? So they got off to a slow start in conference play. Their first ACC win was against the #1 team in the country, Pitt. And then their second win was against Stanford, who was ranked at the time. And then they just defeated North Carolina in the first round of the ACC tournament, 2-1.
Sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you end.
Bank going to send one in. He was looking for an on-runner near post and Jackson Keel, but that was headed away nicely by the Irish defense, and that is going to be a foul pretty clearly on Fletcher Bank, even though he might not agree with the whistle.
And for two physical teams, both these teams like to, there's a lot of cards usually drawn in games, but for the Stanford Cardinal, for Notre Dame, and for two physical teams, it hasn't been that much of a physical game to start it off. That's a clear foul there into the back from Fletcher Bank, despite the protesting.
Well, nobody's ever committed a foul if you ask them. Sergio Gonzalez is our man in the middle. Brandon Chapman, AR1. Michael Gebrselassie, our AR2. Peter Hansen, our alternate official. The ACC, a 15-team league in men's soccer. There are 18 member institutions overall. So the bracket a little funky with 15 teams. Pitt gets a bye, the #1 seed, and then the other 14 teams play in the first round. And the semifinals are back in North Carolina.
And we were talking about this, the difference between the men's tournament and the women's tournament actually in ACC play. The men's tournament, everybody makes the conference tournament. Women's side, only the top 6 make it.
Yeah, so Stanford didn't make the ACC tournament, despite being one of the best teams in the country. We were talking about this earlier this year, Sarah. Mm-hmm. It's easier for an ACC team to make the NCAA tournament than the ACC tournament.
Which is crazy.
That's how deep this league is. And it really is the class of soccer in both men's and women's soccer. Is this one's going to trickle all the way back to Travasos, who has played for 3 different ACC schools, Cal, North Carolina, and Notre Dame now. Really nice release throw here. Green taking on 2, but a great tackle by Cleary. I play one forward to Flores. Travasos will boot it to Momentary safely. It's not exactly what he wanted to do with that. 13th minute of action here. Swing and a miss for Bohane.
Yeah, it's good pressure from Noah Add in there on the back of Rue, and you can see Rue saying that he needs support from behind. He's getting pressure from behind on his back, and he needs his midfielders so he can lay the ball off underneath.
There's Adnan. Riley, nice touch. Something perhaps brewing. Ooh. Luckily for Notre Dame, nobody was waiting to poach that one after the whiff from Bartlett. Freshman making his 8th start of the season from Overland Park, Kansas. Actually got called up to Sporting KC's first team in the 2023 preseason, the MLS side. Played with Sporting KC 2 in MLS Next Pro, did Bartlett.
First 15, Kevin, as we see the clock hit 30, not 15. Scoreless, obviously, but you look at the statistics, 0 shots on goal, 0 saves. Neither of these teams really figuring out how they can threaten. And part of that is it's a playoff game. Your first concern is let's stay calm in the first 15. Let's not let the emotions, let's not let the adrenaline get a hold of us. Let's make sure we secure the back line, and then we can move forward. I expect this game will start to open up more and more.
And of course, a reminder, if we're tied after 90, that's not it. You go 110, if needed, the full 10 to 10-minute halves. Golden goal, and then it's a penalty shootout, PKs. If it's still a draw after 110. Clary. And here's Riley slipping. He gains footing well.
That's a good job from Notre Dame. They just want to keep Stanford out of the middle. They're able to force them wide and force them all the way back. That's exactly what you want if you're Notre Dame. You can see how central they are. There's nobody on the flanks on either side in their defensive shape. It's all central.
A little more than a quarter hour through this one as Travasos will boot it away after a quick swig from the water bottle. Travasos starting for the last 5. Blake Kelly, the freshman, started the first 12 matches this year, or has started 12 matches, including the first 11. And was actually doing a pretty good job, but they wanted to get some clean sheets. Travasos got in there, got a couple of shutouts, and he's been the starter ever since.
Yeah, it's funny. You look at this Notre Dame team. You mentioned how good they were last year, obviously losing in the NCAA championship title game. And that was all on the back of the defense. Last year, they allowed 15 goals on the entire season, 12 clean sheets last year. This year, you look at their defense, 19 goals allowed in 16 games, 2 clean sheets all year. Obviously, this is a program where defense matters a lot. And yes, they can score a lot of goals. They've proven that throughout this season with their offense. But the truth is, defense does win championships, and it makes sense that they wanted some clean sheet. It's a little bit too much pressure on the offense to know that you have to score every game.
Yeah, that's well said, Sarah. This team under the watchful eye of 7th-year head coach Chad Riley, who worked wonders at Dartmouth, the 3-time Ivy League Coach of the Year. And in his first season as the head coach of Notre Dame, only took them to the NCAA quarterfinals, so quite the debut as he replaced the retiring Bobby Clark. He was there for 17 years. He was previously the head coach at Stanford from 1996 to 2000, so there's a connection, a pretty deep connection right there.
The soccer world is a small one. First corner for Stanford here of this game. And you'll usually see Riley and Bohane both head over. Usually Riley will take these as the in-swinger. Bohane will take it if it's on the other side with his left foot. So it's also an in-swinger. It looks like it'll be Riley today. But first corner of the game, we mentioned how dangerous Stanford are on those set pieces.
The second time they've taken a set piece short. Bohane tries to get the cross off. Did it take a deflection? No, it'll be a goal kick.
That Riley to Kiel corner kick was, of course, how Stanford got that 1 goal in their 1-0 victory over Notre Dame earlier this season. Surely something Notre Dame are very aware of, having practiced quite a bit this week, how to defend set pieces.
And here's Travasos on the goal kick. And Clary got the head to it, so it'll be a throw in here for Sebastian Green and friends, and it will not be Green, it'll be Bartlett. Irish won a national title in 2013, defeating Maryland in the finals. And then Stanford, not too much later, won 3 straight from 2015 to 2017. So the Tens dominated by these two programs in that respect. Genenbacher going to try to chip one over the top. Had a little too much pace behind it. This one skied. And we were talking about it a little bit earlier, Sarah, as we came on the broadcast. It was really windy about maybe 30 minutes before this match started, and the wind has almost completely died down.
Yeah, you know, it was windy to the point where you never want to talk about weather if you don't have to talk about weather, but it was windy to the point where we would have talked about how that wind was impacting this game, specifically in terms of long balls. And yeah, there you see it completely died down for this beautiful night.
Yeah, I'm not complaining because the papers were flying all over the place at about 5 p.m. Pacific, that is. Here's Riley trying to juice the counterattack. Oh, but coming the other way now. It's Notre Dame. A nice play initially there made by Jack Flanagan, but couldn't get into the 18. 21st minute. Now Rue, this is the guy to watch. 13 goals on the season. Playing it out wide, having a say, and that shot got blocked. It will be a corner. Not exactly what Flanagan was trying to do as he slipped, but hey, this will work out all right. He replaces the divot.
Yeah, that angle was being closed down slowly as well. Obviously, he slipped, but that angle getting closed down so quickly. Rue was making a beautiful near post run. Perhaps he could have gotten a foot on it, but I'd agree. I'd say this is a best case scenario here for Notre Dame, their first corner.
It'll be Sebastian Green setting up the lefty in-swinger. No real short option for him, so this one is going into the box. Swung near post. Ooh, dangerous ball. Put in a good area, but headed away by a Cardinal player, and this will be a Notre Dame throw. And looks like they're setting up a long throw here. Bartlett will do the honors. Don't have a lot of runway here to get power behind these long throws on this near touchline.
No flip throws here at Kagan.
And Notre Dame's getting a handball. PK coming up. That touch there that drew it from Wyatt Lewis. And a handball signaled for. And a great opportunity to go up from the spot. They will take a look at it. Here is our replay.
That's pretty tricky because, yes, Groeneveld's hands are not tucked into his body, but they are on his person. So if it hits your hands when they're in front of your chest, it's not a handball because they're right in front of your chest. It's when you're jumping in there in an awkward position out and then it hits your arm, then it would be considered a handball.
And it looked like he was trying to move his arms away from the ball.
I don't know if we're going to get into some technicalities here and say Groeneveld's hands weren't actually tucked into his chest. They were a little bit outwards, even though they were in front of his chest.
But if they were tucked into his chest, they were going to still hit his hands.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this really obviously will just be up to the ref's discretion. We get another look at it here. Again, it's the details because that is his right arm, which was a little bit further out. I feel like I'm analyzing an NFL catch now. I think what's important is that the call in the field is that it was a handball, and it's harder to overturn, and there you go.
It's going to be from the spot, so a PK coming up.
And these are the type of calls that divide soccer fans, right? Some say these are the rules. Rules are rules, and so we should have a penalty kick, and others say...
What do you say?
Others, like me, maybe say, hey, this early in a game, the more a ref can do to not be the deciding factor in a game, the better. However, we saw the replay. It was a little bit off center. Handball is called. Certainly not egregious.
Notre Dame is 3 for 3 on penalties this year as a team. 3 for 4, I should say. And it's Matthew Rue stepping to the spot, who has converted all 3 penalties he has taken for his 14th goal of the season and to put Notre Dame ahead in the ACC tournament against the Cardinal. 1-0 Irish, perfectly placed by number 21. Matthew Rue has his 14th goal of the season, leading the ACC and top 10 in the country, entering this game 6th in the land with 13.
Well, it was a perfectly place penalty. It doesn't get better than that. Bottom corner, he sends Schnebly the other way with his hips. He opens him up, and then he closes him at the last moment.
Oh, and Sarah, did I see a little look back to Rowan Schnebly there?
Absolutely.
Gotta love that.
Absolutely. Hey, it's playoffs, right?
That it is. And Matthew Rue, the senior from Germantown, Wisconsin, first team All-ACC last year when he scored 10 goals. ACC All-Freshman selection back in 2021. He's part of the Top Drawer Soccer Freshman Best 11 second team. So how do you attack this if you're the Cardinal now chasing the game a bit down a goal?
Well, I think the first thing is to make sure you respond well in these moments. The most dangerous time for your opposing team is right after you've conceded. They're probably a little bit shaken mentally. Right now, Stanford just needs to make sure they don't concede again for the next 5 minutes, and then they can start to build and move forward. From there on out, obviously it's a completely different game plan because they're working from behind. They're down 1-0. They need to open it up more. Yes, that leaves them a little bit more vulnerable on that back end, but they need to start getting shots off and pinging crosses into the ball. You're looking at the shots right now. Stanford's still at 0.
That was a pretty good build up there until Kiel got stymied at the edge of the area. A booming clearance all the way down the other side of the pitch, and might go out for a goal kick. Stay in play just barely. Kiel now. Game getting stretched a little bit, and this will lead to a corner.
Yeah, not surprised there. Stanford eager to get one back. Listen, this is a team, we mentioned how difficult the last 6 games have been, but before then, a lot of their wins, it was a nitty-gritty team, and they were able to pull out games when, for example, against Notre Dame, they go down a player in the 45th, 46th minute. They were able to go into Clemson and come back from behind. They know how to dig deep and pull out games. They haven't been able to do it in the last 6, so the question for the Cardinal is that still there? Can they find that from the middle of the season?
Here's Riley on the in-swinging ball. Oh, a nice snap header there from Kiel, but lands right in the midsection of Travasos.
Yeah, beautiful corner and a good attempt there from Kiel. And that's some momentum. See that ball in near post. You just see how good Jackson Kiel is in the air. Just such an awkward position for him to even get a shot on goal well in front of the frame, and he can still get it on frame.
And Notre Dame's been absorbing some pressure the last couple of minutes. Now, from a Notre Dame perspective, up a goal, how do you play this?
I would say you have to be aware to not just sit back. The worst thing you can do right now, because of how much time there is left in the game, is to sit back. I'd say in your mind, if you're Notre Dame, the game is 0-0 still. We're sticking to the game plan. Nothing is changing right now, especially because, listen, before that penalty kick, yes, it's been back and forth, but Stanford have been in majority of control of possession. They've been controlling the pace of this game. Notre Dame hasn't really found their midfield yet, and specifically their center midfielders, to work that ball around. So they need to just continue to try to find those and find their flow in the game, because they still haven't yet. Yes, they're up 1-0, but they need to find those center midfielders. It's the same issue they were having against Duke. They couldn't work the ball through the middle. They're in a 4-1-4-1 now, so that they have more people centrally. They need to find those center midfielders.
Foul there on Stanford, so free kick, Travasos. He's got quite the boot on him. Got a foul on Notre Dame. Quick look around the ACC scoreboard. First round action across the conference. We mentioned Cal, the 11-6 upset against North Carolina, 2-1, winning that game on a PK in the 78th minute. Here's Bohane. Nice diagonal ball, finding Fletcher Bank. And Palmer earns a throw. Other finals, the winner of this one will take on Clemson, the defending national champions, Second-seeded Tigers defeating 15th-seeded Louisville 3-1. Duke, the number 3 seed, holding serve against Va Tech, defeating Virginia Tech Hokies 2-0. I'll give you some other finals later as we got the deep throw here for Palmer Bank. Into the box. Headed out nicely by Genenbacher. Chipped in. There's Travasos. Syracuse, the number 12 seed, led 5th-seeded Wake Forest 1-0 at the break. Then the Demon Deacons stormed back in the second half with 2 goals. Wake Forest on to the second round with a 2-1 win over the Orange. A couple other games going on right now. 4th-seeded SMU leading 13th-seeded Boston College 1-0 in the 64th minute. And in the 66th minute, it's 8th-seeded NC State with a 1-0 lead over 9th-seeded Virginia. So Pitt will await the winner of that Virginia-NC State match as the lone team to get it by. The regular season champion Pitt Panthers. It's been a nice year for Pitt Fall sports. Women's volleyball having a great season. Football started the season 8-0. Here's a shot! Oh, Jackson Keel testing Travasos. Get a corner kick out of this.
I think that's Shane DeFlores now down in the box.
Not who you want to see go down if you're the Cardinal.
Absolutely not. Just off-ball collision.
And they're going to stop the clock. He's to his feet, thankfully. Sergio Gonzalez making sure nothing spills over. So Bohane from the near flag with the lefty in-swinger here. Low liner. Riley has a say, and it's blocked by Genenbacher. No, correction, rather, on the block there for Notre Dame was Bryce Bonneau, the team captain. Bonneau, guy with 8 assists this season, leading the team, but has just 1 assist in his last 7 matches. Adnan tried to volley that one. Nice step there by Hooper. Bank and Bonneau. Fletcher wins that one, but cross hits the top netting.
Bonneau so key for this Notre Dame side, and we haven't really seen him on the ball all that much. He's gotten a few touches, but especially for somebody who's playing in the midfield, captain, I mean, he started every game he's ever played in for this team, and that'll tell you what a rock he's been all of the years he's been at the Fighting Irish. He needs to get on the ball more. That's who we want pulling the strings, him alongside Lewis in that double pivot, if you will, those 2 center midfielders, but specifically Bryce Bonneau. It's everything's really going to start from him. You mentioned a goal and 8 assists, 3rd in assists in the ACC for him. It's all going to start there.
To Flores, who stayed on. Trying to take it to the byline, but well defended by Mitch Ferguson, the junior from Illinois. He has 3 assists this season and a goal. Former top 40 recruit out of Baker Webb Academy and the youngest starter in Portland Timbers 2 history. There's a lot of Portland Timbers connections with this Notre Dame side. Good long diagonal ball, playing the switch to clear in. Here's Bohane. To the byline. Cheeky initial move as we pass the half-hour mark. They're going to play advantage for now. Good turn at midfield. And then a big crunching tackle, and yellow's coming out. Oh, and now it's getting physical. Yeah. Fletcher, Bank, and Bartlett. Here it is again.
Yeah, definitely deserving of that yellow. Hooper gets all ankle, no ball, and it felt a little late as well. And we knew it was about to get physical because Bartlett sprinted all the way over from the left side of the field just to tell Dylan Hooper a little something.
Yeah, that's Ian Shaw who took the worst of that. Here's a little hold me back, bro, kind of interaction.
Yeah, Fletcher Bank getting into it.
Yeah, getting into it with everybody.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned it, this is going to be a physical game. Stanford is second in the ACC in yellow second in yellow cards. That's their 39th yellow of the season, and this last play is under review.
Yeah.
And not what Stanford needs right now, down a goal. They've had a couple of guys sent off this year. Don't want another guy sent off when you're already chasing the game.
Yeah, they're just holding their breath right now that this doesn't turn into a red card. It doesn't look malicious. It doesn't look intentional. Yes, he was late. He was behind the play. It should absolutely be a yellow card. I do not think that this is red card worthy, to be totally frank with you. He's not the last defender. It wasn't malicious. Yes, it was dangerous. Yes, it's deserving of a yellow card. But I think everybody on the Stanford bench is just having a little bit of deja vu, especially considering the fact that they played 45 minutes with 10 players against Notre Dame the last time out. So perhaps they've seen this film before.
This would be 59 minutes and change at least.
A little bit longer to have to park the bus, but with that being said, I would be surprised to see this turned into a red card. And perhaps they could be looking at some of the shoving that happened afterwards.
Yeah,
maybe some off-the-ball cards as well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a fair yellow, not a red, but maybe some additional bookings to be had. He's discussing it with Chad Riley right now, Sergio Gonzalez. Get some subs for Notre Dame.
Substitutions for Notre Dame. Number 14, Will Schrader, and number 22, Nolan Spicer.
So Will Schrader and Nolan Spicer on. Schrader's number 14 on your screen. Doesn't look like anything additional came of that review. Fortunate from a Stanford perspective, and a free kick coming up here from, say, 35 yards out. Schrader on your screen, a freshman from Illinois, Barrington High product. He replaces Jack Flanagan. And Spicer in for Ian Shaw, who took the worst of that tackle. So Spicer's going to actually take the free kick. His first bit of work is a pretty important bit of work. Hand goes down, ball goes up on the set piece. Took ahead, and Notre Dame was calling for another handball. I don't get it this time. Did you see anything there?
I didn't, but I was also looking just with the naked eye on the field. I wasn't checking the monitor or close up. Boy, that would have been something.
Yeah.
It would have been on Will Riley. Yeah, at least it wouldn't have been again on Dylan Grunewald. From at least our perspective, it didn't look like there was enough in there.
Long switch played here, trying to unleash Spicer. Allow Notre Dame to set up a high press. Perhaps. Palmer Bank on the throw. That one leaves the park. Long throw there. Riley getting a foul to set up a free kick. Entering the 33rd minute, there was a PK from Matthew Rue that has Notre Dame on top. You're just joining us. That Goal coming in the 22nd minute. Chipped in by Bank. Header was going to be wide by Adnan. Bohane getting to the ball first. Solid slide tackle.
Yeah, that's great defense there from Zach Bohane. That's what the Stanford Cardinal want. Down 1-0. You want a bit of a high press when you're in your own attacking half. Make sure you don't turn the ball over. And if you do, you get it back as soon as you can.
Rue couldn't quite take that one down cleanly. Space for Bank to operate. Good bit of possessing here from the Cardinal. It stays in. Bohane. Cleary on the chip. The header goes in! And there's the equalizer from Jackson Keel. We are tied at 1 here in the 34th minute.
What a dime from Will Cleary, the right back. It had the spin on it, and Keel, there were 2 defenders around him, but nobody actually on him, rising with him. And if you leave Jackson Keel unmarked by that much, he will put the ball in the back of the net with his head. And it was coming for the Stanford Cardinal. It really felt like since Notre Dame scored, they'd had the momentum, they'd had the possession, they'd had the opportunities, and there it is.
Keel with his 4th of the season, for Cleary, his 4th assist. That goal coming in the 34th minute after the PK in the 22nd from Matthew Rue, and we are back level. Like Notre Dame is going to make a sub. And they will. Stevie Dunphy coming on for Rue, so we'll see Rue in the second half, you would imagine. Dunphy, a freshman from Carlsbad, that's in the San Diego area here in California. Has a goal and an assist. Scored against Clemson, that was a win. An assist against Illinois Chicago, also a win for the Irish.
Yeah, that was his first collegiate goal ever. That goal against Clemson. Not a bad way to do it.
No. A rematch of the national championship game from last year. And the Irish exacting some revenge on the Tigers. And Clemson lost to Stanford. They lost to Notre Dame. Didn't lose to anybody else in league.
It's funny how it works out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then whoever wins this game will be heading to Clemson.
Good bit of possessing on the far side here for the Irish. Midfield, nice ball for Green. Green playing that one ahead, but back tracking there is Hooper. Looking for Dunphy. Throwing here for Bartlett. There's another Bartlett on the team, Nico. They are not brothers. Bohane. Bohane wants it back. DeFlores plays the switch, and it's a nice switch indeed. Quick restart on the throw-in. Patient here from the Cardinal. First touch there from Hooper. Bohane, top of the box. And will lead to a goal kick.
Yeah, just a little miscommunication there. DeFlores maybe also pulled his run in a little too quickly. He should have pulled it out a little bit wider, and he would have been on that for Bohane. I don't mind that from the Stanford Cardinal. Now that they've equalized, they have the time to just work it around the back and wait for that moment. The problem, of course, becomes if you work it around the back and you don't have that urgency to go forward. But right now, that looks good for the Cardinal.
Larry taking his time here. Well, he gained about 30 yards on that throw. Clary. Good bit of footwork there. Bank looking to get a cross off, you would imagine. Gets blocked. It'll be a throw-in.
Notre Dame doing a whole lot of running and a whole lot of defending really in these last 20 minutes of this half, and that's the kind of thing that'll catch up with you. It's just more exhausting to defend the entirety of the game. They need to figure out how they can get themselves on the ball and maintain possession, even if it's in their own half. They just need a moment where they're not being worked around by the Stanford Cardinal right now.
Long throw in, headed out. Bank, nice touch. Fletcher, Bank chipping it in. They'll get a corner out of that. Having to just head that one to safety was Ferguson.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Unpredictable from Fletcher Bank. Everybody thought he was going far post, and he just swings his hips around, gets a little texture on the ball to hit that near post.
And Jeremy Gunn, a guy who subs a ton, he is going to make his first couple of switches right here. Kwabena Kwakwa will check on, along with Nick White. So Jackson Keel, the first half goal scorer for the Cardinal, subs out alongside Shane DeFlores. Bohane on the corner, Will Riley the short option. They have played it short a couple of times on set pieces here in the first half. Now Riley will enter the fray. In swinging ball, back post is dangerous, punched out by Travasos. Travasos had to play that one. Well, it could have been 2-1 Stanford.
Yeah, it was a good read from him. Beautiful corner in, and look at all of that traffic. Still able to get a hand on it. That's a great job there.
Comes the throw into the mixer. Just a bit high and outside. Well, that's going to be a throw-in.
Nick White, number 24, you mentioned, coming in for the Stanford Cardinal, the graduate transfer from Harvard last year. He usually comes in a one singular role, and that's to make it a 5-back. He'll sit in between the two center backs, and he'll be that central center back of a 5-back, and it looks like that's what Jeremy Gunn has gone to just to close out this half. Perhaps one of the tactics that he got wrong that he was mentioning about that Cal game, he played a 5-back for a lot longer than I think we've ever seen the Cardinal play a 5-back for this year. Usually it's just at the end of the game or to protect a lead. He seems more comfortable with trying to use it right now, especially, you know, to close out this half.
Yeah, I think Stanford would be very happy if this was a 1-all game at the break. And that will not help matters. Poor giveaway there from Stanford.
Now, interestingly, so I think both teams will be very happy if it's tied at the break. If you're Notre Dame, you spent a lot of the last few minutes on defense, and right now they're finally trying to find a bit of flow on offense, but this is the most we've seen from them on the attacking end in quite a while.
Green from Bonneau. Kwakwa doing a nice job defensively in tandem with Bohane.
Interesting when you think about how both of these teams really came into this game. You could say both of these teams are actually pretty streaky if you look at their whole regular season records and how they were performing.
Oh, miss hit, and Cleary nearly got there. Will with the assist already. Kwakwa takes the shot and a nice save, Travasos. Kwakwa with the header and another good setup from Will Cleary.
Yeah, that would have been his first ever collegiate goal if Kwakwa had gotten on the end of that. That's a beautiful read by Ferguson. That's all positioning right there.
And back to Schnebley, nicely done by Noah Adnan.
Talking about the streaks in the regular season for both of these teams. If you look at kind of the story for Notre Dame, had a rough first 5, and then they went on a 4-game win streak, and since then they've won only 2 of 7. So low and then a high and then another lull, and then Stanford Cardinal, on the other hand, had a tough first 2 games. All of a sudden, went on a 10-game streak where they either won or drew. They did not lose. Finally, that was snapped by University of San Francisco, and since then, they haven't won.
They have not won since the month of September, the Cardinal. And Notre Dame did sprinkle in a 2-0 win at Cal. Second to last match of the regular season. Getting goals from Rue and Spicer in the first and second halves. In the 32nd and 78th minutes. They are without, we should mention, KK before, who is on a red card suspension right now. And that would be a nice player for them to have. He's top 10 in the ACC in assists with 5. And was College Cup All-Tournament selection last year for the Irish when they went all the way to the finals. Final 85 seconds or so here in the first half. White heading that one out. And Notre Dame, time for an attack here to close out the first half. There's Ramsey, nobody home. Under a minute now. Notre Dame winning it back. Dunphy giving chase, but White easily wins that. Final half minute. Time for one last opportunity here, perhaps for the Cardinal. Not so much, say Notre Dame.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Kwakwa almost got there. Here's Bohane, puts it right on the money, right to Travasos, and that will do it for the first half. An exciting first 45 minutes, a goal aside. And replace the retiring Bobby Clark. At the end of the 2017 season, we are underway, second half, minutes 46 through 90, and Kwakwa is getting the second half start.
Yeah, and it looks like with that, Jeremy Gunn's gone to a 5-back. You see number 24, Nick White, on the ball right now. He's going to sit in the middle in between Noah Adnan and Dylan Hooper for the usual 2 center back. So he's gone to a full 5-back, and the danger in that, of course, is that invites more pressure.
We'll see how Stanford's able to deal with that here to start the second half. In the words of John Strong, 45 down, 45 to go.
Wise words.
Wise words indeed. The voice of United States soccer and the MLS, John Strong. Bohane. Fouled. No, if I wanted to do it like the great John Strong, it'd be more like 45 down, 45 to go.
I like it better that way anyways.
Yeah, no, I love how John does it. I look forward to it at halftime in every match I watch. Will Riley. That'll be booted clear. Nicely done by Bartlett. Well, Stanford able to get on the front foot first here in the second half.
Yeah, it looks like what Stanford have been doing, and especially on offense in this 5-back. You got Will Cleary, the right back. He's all the way up sitting along the front line. He's next to Zach Bohane right now. He's as far up as you really can be. He's basically playing as a right winger. So it looks like what they're going to do with that 5-back is when they transition to offense, it's going to become a 3-back, and they're going to send those outside backs forward like wingers.
Palmer Bank looking back post header. No, not quite there. And there is an injured Cardinal player down. And might have ran into the post. Let's take a look.
It's not one of them that you want to see all too many times. I think that's.
Hit his head right on the post.
I think that's Will Cleary, the right back. I'm wrong about that since I still see Will Cleary on the field right now, but.
Was it Jackson? Jackson Keel? The number is scrunched up. Correction, it's Dylan Groneveld, number 6. So we couldn't make a number out. Dylan Groneveld. Scary situation here, so.
Absolutely terrifying. That's obviously the last thing you want to see in any sport whatsoever. So everybody will just go back to the bench and they'll take their time. And plenty of athletic trainers, obviously, around Groneveld. Looks like Jeremy Gunn over there checking on him as well. All you can really do is hope for the best. That was a pretty nasty collision with the post.
They're bringing the stretcher out. And you could kind of tell it in our replay. His head made direct contact with the post. Never a good thing to see the stretcher come out.
Absolutely not. You can hope it's sometimes precautionary. As somebody who has been on a stretcher coming off of the field in a college game, it was precautionary. We can only hope that right here, something that's always hard to just get back into the flow of the game as well. If you're the Stanford Cardinal or Notre Dame, something this serious happens that just feels like more than soccer, more than sports. It can be hard to feel like you can go back onto the field and just play a game.
And see the Notre Dame players affected by it too. They're wishing the best for Dylan.
I actually think we're going to see the Stanford Cardinal head back into their locker room.
Yeah, they are. This might be a lengthy break in action. Notre Dame's going back to their locker room now. All right, we'll take a break and wish the best for Dylan. We played just 2.5 minutes of the second half. So you have a 15-minute break at halftime. You play 2.5 minutes, and then there's like another 25-minute break. So in the last 40 minutes or so, these teams have only played 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that's actually just looks like Notre Dame.
Yeah, sporting play.
Yeah, giving the ball back to Stanford. Very, Very kind of the Fighting Irish there. Yeah, this just certainly feels like we're starting the second half. You know, there really isn't anything to pick up from. It had just begun. Reset what's going on with the Stanford Cardinal here. Shane DeFlores came in for Dylan Grunewald, and as they came back out in the second half, they went to a 5-back. Nick White is sitting in between the two center backs, so Stanford Cardinal in a 5-back. We'll see how that fares for them. Usually that invites more pressure, which in a 1-1 game is probably not what you want to do, but the plus side of it is that you have 5 defenders, you can protect the game. However, the goal is not to draw, it would be to win. So we'll see how this plays out here in the second half, and we mentioned both of these teams like to score in the second half.
And 9 combined draws between these two teams, so we could very well be playing more than 90 minutes tonight, Sarah.
Yeah, I think at a certain point, once it gets down to 5 minutes to go, it becomes mentally more important to not concede than it does to score. But until then, we've got 40 minutes or 35 minutes until we have the remaining 5 left, and I expect to see some open play here on this field.
Trying to get the header there.
I'll also throw in that, you know, both of these teams obviously just played the entirety of a regular season. I don't think anybody on the field wants to run for an extra 20 minutes. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, this is match 17 for both of these sides as DeFlores just ran out of real estate and Travasos will boot it away on a goal kick.
Shane DeFlores, somebody that Stanford Cardinal need desperately right now. Obviously, they've got some goal scorers on the field, and Jackson Keel, the current goal scorer for the Cardinal, and Zach Bohane, who leads the team in goals. But Shane DeFlores is that true forward, that true number 9 for the team. He's got 4 goals on the season, 2 game winners, but he hasn't scored since September 6th at Clemson.
Yeah, that is 2 months to the day now. By the way, DeFlores was the guy who came on for Grunewald. Cleary looking for Bohane. Bohane's going to get a corner out of that. So Stanford with an early opportunity here in the 51st minute. Early second half. Bohane, local kid from Monte Sereno, went to Los Gatos High. Good public school in the South Bay. Kwakwa standing right on the goal mouth. Good in-swinging ball. Ferguson, the first head to it, and then cleared by Rue. Long diagonal ball played. And another corner. So Stanford's starting to rack up the corners. This will be their 6th of the match compared to 1 for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and this time they've got the tall Nick White, number 24, in there alongside Noah Adnan. 2 center backs will be in the mix in there.
And both of them 6'2" in height. Nick White, the Harvard grad transfer. Another grad transfer from St. Mary's, and Louis Starobo has yet to see the pitch in this one. Bohane again. In-swinger near post. Not much of a chance, but Palmerbank on the backside pops that one up. The pitch has been pretty tilted since the restart of this match. And the first couple of minutes of the second half also kind of owned by the Cardinal. Adnan comes in there, and then Travasos able to save the day.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. The first couple minutes before that long stoppage for Groeneveld also looked very much like this. So we can say that really the entirety of the second half so far has been this for the Stanford Cardinal. And it's worth saying again because it was so long that we were paused. When the Stanford Cardinal are on offense, that 5-back becomes a 3-back, and they send those outside backs, that left back and that right back, so far forward that you will confuse them for a left forward and a right forward. They just essentially become wingers.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now the shape shifts on offense for this team. Here is Riley.
Yeah, it certainly becomes just an overload, too much for the Fighting Irish to handle.
Cleary, the assist on Kiel's goal in the first half.
For the Irish right now, the question becomes, how do we regain control of this game? Because they're very disciplined in their defensive shape, and that's part of why they are so strong defensively almost always as a program. But what comes with that is that they don't high press a lot, and a high press is something that could change the momentum of the game. It could get the ball back for you faster instead of just constantly defending. So what can they do if they're not going to high press? And the answer for them is just that they need to get possession of the ball and keep possession of the ball. They need to find the empty pockets. When somebody gets on a loose ball, they need to make sure they keep it, whether that's sending it all the way back to Ferguson in goal, letting him sit with it at his feet, and then go from there. But possession is the name of the game right now. Start from there for the Fighting Irish.
Stanford quickly back on the ball after Bohane kind of split the Bank Bros on his last switch. And winner takes on Clemson Sunday in South Carolina. That'll be a 2 Eastern start. One-touch passing. There's Spicer to track back defensively for the Irish. Bohane. White. Hooper on the diagonal. Nicely played to Cleary and a good first touch. Sizing up Bartlett. Bartlett with the tackle. And Rue, cheeky touch. It's Matthew Rue, the goal scorer for the Irish. 1-on-2, takes it to his right, no support. Let's drop it back, but no, able to get there in support.
Oh, that's great work from Rue. There's not many center forwards in the world that will have the opportunity to take a touch and shoot it. Instead, they're going to opt to pull it back and keep possession for their team, and that's exactly what he did there. And a good job to that midfield for getting up right behind him, so he had some support coming from underneath.
Yeah, the angle on the shot was cut down, so it would not have been a fruitful attempt. Good decision by Rue. Played out to Spicer, edge of the area. Schrader. Good bit of possessing here from Notre Dame. It's going to get away from Bartlett, not quite. Green. Held on to the ball for a long spell here.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. This is what they needed. The moment somebody gets on a ball, they need to hold up and find an open player so that they can keep possession. This is what they need to gain some momentum.
Green. Bit of a missed touch there, and Stanford will pounce on possession. Kwakwa. Riley goes to ground, and a whistle will come. A chance for a set piece here. Pretty far out, but a chance to get numbers forward.
That's great work from Riley. See, he's just trying to split two defenders. One of the two senior captains. And he is just so key for this Stanford team. The way he moves the ball around, the way he can get the ball in turn, switch the field. He really pulls the strings from that defensive center mid role.
Short to Hooper. Play that one into space. Bohane gets on the end of it, crosses off. A Cardinal throw.
Yeah, that was well read from number 22 Spicer.
Notre Dame can't get too far with it. Just a little too far in front of Kwakwa.
So a small spell of possession for Notre Dame, and then they set up once again in their defensive half. And that was a good read in the middle. They'll get that call. Better, though, from Notre Dame. They're starting to step in on the Stanford attackers a little faster, stay on their backs maybe a little bit tighter, so that Stanford can't have just endless minutes of possession in Notre Dame's defensive half.
Here's the last foul. Yeah, a little grab from behind on Shane DeFlores.
Yeah, it's always going to be called when you put your arms out like that.
That's for sure. Jersey tug as well, Cardinal player against Notre Dame. Irish don't get the whistle, but they do still have possession. Nice ball played out here to Spicer. Past the hour mark. Better from Notre Dame over the last few minutes.
Better from Notre Dame, but, you know, we said at halftime, they had 2 shots at halftime. You look at their statistic now, still sitting at 2 shots, and also, guess what? No saves forced for Rowan Schnebley. He has not had to make a save in goal for the Stanford Cardinal. That's the statistic that Notre Dame are going to have to change if they're going to pull this out in regulation time.
On the other side of the coin, while Stanford has largely had the ball, the Cardinal have not attempted a shot in the second half. Hooper carrying it into space. Bohane. Blocked by Ferguson, well positioned. Chipped in. Bohane. No, make that to Flores. High of the mark, and a sub will come on for Stanford. That's Jackson Keel for Kwabena Kwakwa for the final 28 minutes. You'd imagine. Here's another look. That never really had a shot. Ambitious from DeFlores.
Yeah, it was a good ball in, but when that chest touch from DeFlores kind of took him too far outside the goal, that's when everything just kind of started to disintegrate. That's the kind of touch that if you can, you want to get your ball around it, your body around it, so you can touch it inside, but that would be working some magic.
I'll shepherd this back to Schnebley. Riley, good first touch at midfield, staying on possession.
And that's why he's so good. That's why he's so key. You can give him the ball when he's covered, and he's still going to find a way to turn into space.
Fletcher Bank gets the cross off. But the Irish were home there near post. That giveaway, Bohane. for DeFlores, kind of overran it.
Yeah, those are the giveaways that start to happen when you've been defending for too long, and that's also not the ball you want. Rue can work some magic, but he can't get to that ball all the way down there. These are the types of mistakes that start to happen halfway through this second half. Notre Dame have been defending a lot so far in this second half, and when you're mentally tired and then the physical tiredness starts to hit, that's really what can start to happen. Now the question for Stanford is, can they capitalize on it?
And at the very least, that long ball forward does give Notre Dame a chance to high press if they want.
Not a team that we've seen really high press from at all this game or over the course of this season, but it certainly does give them an opportunity to shift over, lock in, and try to not let the Cardinal out of this half.
Well, mission accomplished. Looks like the Irish are getting ready to make a sub.
Yeah, once again, that's a long ball. Irish trying to bypass that midfield. That midfield needs to get in the game. Right now, the Stanford Cardinal midfield are winning this battle, and that's been the difference, obviously, in possession, but also when Notre Dame get possession, they need to be able to work it through the midfield. The few times they have, it's looked good, but it needs to be more and more and more of that. These long balls are just really giving away possession right when they get it again, and when you're defending a lot, you just want to play a ball to feet, keep that ball.
No whistle. Sergio Gonzalez giving the finger wag there to Rue, who went to ground. Jack Flanagan's going to be the guy who will come on for the Irish, starting forward, who started the second half on the Irish bench. There's Cleary. Bohane. Riley. Not a ton of chances lately, but here could be something for Jackson Keel. Shots blocked, but only as far as Riley. Cleary chipping it in, good ball, but headed out. White, with Rue on his back, does well.
Notre Dame doing a good job of getting forward quickly. You see how quickly they push those lines up. That's what you get for that. It's a good job from the midfield there.
But quickly ceding possession. The ball bouncing back onto the pitch, and Jack Flanagan gonna come on. He replaces Will Schrader. Flanagan, a redshirt freshman from Rancho Palos Verdes, that's in Southern California. Second on the team with 4 goals. There is quite the separation, though, between second on the team in goals and first.
I would say.
4 and then 14. And here's something for Notre Dame. Flanagan, good touch. Out to Bartlett, lets it rip. And oh no, I'm not sure if that was a ball back post. I think that was. It was just a little too weighty.
Yeah, I think so. Just overhit a little bit too much. It was a good look, though. Take a look at it again. Far post, he had the runner.
Yeah, he overcooked it.
Yeah, it just needed to be a little bit more at the angle. Good run, though. Once again, Nolan Spicer's been pretty much everywhere.
Drive, bro!
Bohane staying on his feet. Plenty of space here near side for Hooper.
Actually, now since the substitution for Notre Dame, we can see that both of these teams have gone to a 5-back. Notre Dame now also in a 5-back here. So 5-back versus 5-back. You don't see that a lot.
No. Chance to break the lines here. DeFlores to Keel has scored 1 goal just wide. A good effort from Jackson Keel, who had eyes for a brace.
Well, he had a 2-game rest due to a red card suspension, but a rest nevertheless, and he has been just a ball of energy for the Stanford Cardinal. He has the goal for the Cardinal. The touch just gets a little too far from him. I think he wanted to put that on his foot so he could tee himself up maybe a little more towards the face of the goal, but a beautiful opportunity and just wide from Jackson Keel. You can see what he can create for himself.
There's Flanagan. He'll let one go from about 25 yards wide of the mark. All right, so Sarah, so you mentioned both teams going into a 5-back. Does that signal to you that they're thinking about extra time?
I think it actually says something different for both teams just based on when they went into the 5-back. For Stanford, they came out in the second half in a 5-back, and I think it was very tactical and strategic based on what happened in the first half, knowing that they're okay with 3 in the back on a counterattack, and they want to send those wings forward. So I think they specifically went into a 5-back because they liked what it offered them on the attacking end, knowing that they can overload those wings on the attacking end.
Well, here's a foul in a dangerous area. It's kind of going to be like a short corner, if you will, here for the Cardinal. See the foul right there on number 24, Sebastian Green.
Yeah, right into the back of Jackson Keel, who comes over for that. And once again, Bohane and Riley standing over it. Bohane with the left, Riley with the right. It'll be interesting to see if they pick the in-swinger or the out-swinger here.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of free kicks from this area.
It's a bit of a difficult area just because it is so close. You can't drive it, so you have to float it over.
See, Bohane will take it. And he does hit it with some pace. And
He
goes
went
off
for the
top
golasso.
netting. Yeah.
He fully went for the golasso there. Could that be an Olympico if it's not a corner kick?
Yeah, I mean, would you call that an Olympico pequeño? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was the goal all along is Zach Bohane. I mean, he can texture a ball like the best of them, so why not let him try to just texture that into that top far corner, but no dice. Go back to the 5-back question that you're asking, Kevin. You covered Stanford. Notre Dame, at this point in the game, going to a 5-back, I think because of when they did it, because of the fact that Stanford have been threatening this entire half, that speaks to me as more, we are going to protect this lead and we're not going to concede. I care more about not conceding than trying to get this next goal. So yes, I think for Notre Dame, they're just more trying to send this into overtime and perhaps get a goal on a counterattack.
The Irish get a free kick here. It'll be Green. 40-plus yards out. Sent to the edge of the area. Ferguson got the head to it. Spicer. Josh Ramsey, the stout center back. Such a fixture in that back line for Notre Dame. As, goal kick will come up, but Ramsey, the senior from Plano, Texas, he's a 4-year starter. He started all but 2 matches in his career. This is match 80 for him and start 78. Former ACC All-Frosh, Top Drawer Soccer freshman best 11 first team selection 3 years ago. '73rd minute. Foul in midfield going against the Irish. Take a look at Palmer Bank. Twins with Fletcher from Bakersfield. Bohane twirling. Nicely done by Zach Bohane. And the Bank Bros not quite on the same page there.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot between the Bank twins, a miscommunication. I thought they could read each other's minds.
Yeah, I thought that's what twins do.
That's what they told me.
Have we been deceived? Fortunate hop for the Cardinal, landing the feet of Riley. DeFlores out for Cleary, chipping it in, back post, looking for Keel, but there's Travasos.
Good work from Ferguson in goal. He's been busy tonight for Notre Dame, and he's come up big every time.
Travasos, you know this one means a little something extra for him, the former Golden Bear goalkeeper. As he plays this one perfectly. Four years at Cal, 1 year in North Carolina, and an extra year with Notre Dame, and that'll be a foul on Flanagan. And a clap from Palmer Bank. About a quarter hour to go in regulation. Again, play 20 minutes, excuse me, 20 minutes of extra time soccer, not golden goal.
You see why Palmer Bank's so amped up about that. Flanagan just trying to tap it and go the other way around Palmer, who read it well, so well that Flanagan's frustration comes out in the form of a foul.
Palmer. Fletcher on the overlap. Oh, couldn't quite toe it in. That would have been nice. Quarters on Sunday. Semis next Thursday. ACC title game on the following Sunday, the 17th. And then it's NCAA tournament time, and the ACC will be well represented in the field of 48. That is a fact.
Yeah, one of those moments where some teams in the ACC might have to face reality that, you know, they could have been in the tournament, but because they're in the ACC, perhaps they don't make it. Obviously, not every single team in the ACC can make it, and some teams, a beautiful ball there.
Yeah, nice back heel flick. Flanagan deflected by Hooper. It's Rue now. Shot blocked by White. That full stretch there to keep Schnebley clean. We're starting to reach the final stages of the second half here in the 77th minute. Inside the final quarter hour.
Worth noting, Rowan Schnebley in goal still has yet to make a save.
Shots have picked up. It's now 13-5 in favor of Stanford. That's a 6-3 shot advantage for the Cardinal in the second half. And the foul will be called, and perhaps more. Yeah, booking a yellow here for number 6, Wyatt Lewis. What do you think?
Yeah, understandable why that is a yellow card. It was just a little later than Riley. See, Riley gets the ball first. Lewis comes in, no ball, all player, and late. That's just one of those things, though, you know, when you're going into the tackle, you don't believe it's going to be late. You're just going in to try to get the ball, and sometimes that's what happens.
And that's a clear foul on Nick White. Absolutely just pushed Rue to the ground, shoved him down, and once the advantage was no longer there, smart whistle from Sergio Gonzalez. DeFlores, Shane, oh, just in front of Jackson Keel. Bank will keep it in, but Didn't have much of a play.
Yeah, it looked like Keel was about to go one-on-one with Travasos in goal if he could have just gotten his foot on that.
This is how close it is. Yeah, it's just a little too far in front of him.
And it looks like Bank also didn't know just how much time he had. Perhaps he could have pulled that back, taken a moment, and picked out his pass.
Yeah, it wasn't really being chased by anybody in white, but I think his train of thought might be just keep this in play.
Mm-hmm. Certainly one of those things that's easier said when you're watching it and it feels like it's happening in slow motion further away versus when you're actually on the field doing it. That's dangerous there.
Rue giving Schnebly something to think about. And you get some subs for the Irish. A couple of guys coming on. We're going to see Sean McDowell, that's number 3, for the first time today, replacing Bartlett. And then Spicer's going to come off as well. Ian Shaw, who started, back in for Spicer.
Yeah, Bartlett, number 16, was doing just so much running down that line. I think it's a good move to get McDowell in there simply because Bartlett was just starting to make tired passes. And then at this point in the game, you can't be giving away a ball in a dangerous area because of a tired pass. That'll most likely be a foul.
Yeah, that's a foul. No doubt about her there on Jackson Keel. Who has been in his fair share of physicality this year.
Yeah, a fiery player on all accounts, and that's not a bad thing. That means he brings the energy to the team, but also he can get into something like that where it's 100% or it's nothing.
San Diego Jackson. The junior in eligibility. This is his 4th year on campus, but did not play his first year. Used to wear number 19, now wears number 9. A little bit just behind Rue. Chipped in Shaw, headed out quickly. Shot way high. Not much of a chance there for Wyatt Lewis, who recently got booked.
Really high, but I like the thought. I like the opportunity. Obviously, it was a difficult bounce to try to take that on, but I like that idea from the center midfielder.
10 minutes to go in regulation. Foul at midfield. Flanagan doesn't like the whistle. So if you take a quick restart, here it is.
Absolutely. I mean,
shoulder to shoulder.
There's nothing wrong with the shoulder to shoulder aspect of it, except for the fact that it was at that point playing the player and not the ball.
Yeah.
There's 2 pieces of that. It has to be shoulder to shoulder, and you have to play the ball. You can't just go into somebody's shoulder and say, hey, that was shoulder to shoulder. That's hockey, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I can't do that, Sarah.
I learned that because I went in and I always said, hey, it was shoulder to shoulder, and that's how I learned that there's a second added piece that you have to be playing the ball, not the player.
A good ball down the far touchline. It's DeFlores. Well, looks like an Irish player might be cramping up. Oh, look at that back heel from DeFlores.
DeFlores is just so skilled with the ball at his feet, and I know we mentioned he hadn't scored since early in September. Specifically, the last time was Clemson on September 6th, but he does add that element to the game as well, and it's perhaps that he was scoring so much early in the season, 3 games in a row as he headed into Clemson. The team started to pick up on it, but he's a different kind of forward, and that's why him and Jackson Keel work so well together. Jackson Keel, very aerial. Shane DeFlores, you just saw what he can do with the ball at his feet. He prefers to work with the ball at his feet and take a shot from outside.
Now, I want to say, yeah, that's Bryce Bonneau who is getting stretched out. Stanford will have to return to the pitch. Not sure exactly Sergio Gonzalez wants this huddle continuing on much longer. Look at Shane. Danville, California. It's in the East Bay, probably 40-ish miles away from here or so. DeFlores, 4 goals on the season. So, throw in here for the Cardinal. Palmer Bank is their long throw specialist. He's at it again here. Foul. Keel pushing down an Irish player. That was Bonneau. And Bonneau helped to the ground a little bit there. And so just another, it is golden goal. We are sorry for this. We were right initially. We were told correctly. The NCAA.com says this is an article released in August 2023, says conference or NCAA postseason that it is a full 20 minutes, but it is golden goal. We just looked at the ACC paperwork itself. Apologies.
I don't want to confuse things more, but perhaps NCAA tournament rules.
No, it says I'm looking at this NCAA.com article right now.
No, I'm not saying
the
this
days
is
of the golden goal are over. As of 2022, if a postseason game, meaning conference or NCAA tournament, is tied after 90 minutes.
Well, this is a PSA to the NCAA to please go update your website.
Yeah. This article was released last year.
It's just been quietly driving Kevin crazy.
So what we were told originally by the staff here was correct. So our apologies. I blame the NCAA. I'm a guy who doesn't like to, I'm not a self-responsibility kind of guy. I defer blame wherever I can.
I would say in this case, you looked, you got a piece of information, you were right to assume it was correct. So just to confirm.
So you're telling me it's golden goal?
It's golden goal.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Sarah.
Just to confirm how golden goal works, there will still be 2 10-minute periods. We'll play the 10 minutes. If there's no goal, we'll go to a second 10-minute period. If there's no goal, we will go to penalty kicks. If there is a goal, we end it right there.
And we used to have overtime all the time in college soccer because it used to be in the regular season. Well, it's not in the regular season. You got to refresh yourself every postseason. And
a positive that it's been eliminated from the regular season because that's a lot of extra minutes for these athletes to play. Golden goal, always a controversial topic when it comes to should it be there, should it not be there for overtime.
I think it should. For what it's worth, I like golden goal.
As a fan?
As a fan, yes.
Okay.
And I mean, I was never a player or a coach, so yeah, I can't speak from those perspectives. All right, anyways, there is a game going on. Bank with the long throw, headed towards goal. Keel deflected. Stanford wants a handball. They're not getting it. Riley high of the mark, and Stanford, and this is going to be reviewed, I believe. Or is this a whistle for descent?
the referee did make the video motion
I
that
thought
he was
so.
going, but we might also
right.
get a yellow card.
Let's see. You be the judge, Sarah. I mean,
So far, nothing. That's the handball. Yep. That looks like that's on Ramsey. Ooh, from that angle, it doesn't look like a handball.
yeah, what was actual contact made with Ramsey's hand?
Yeah, from that angle, it just looks like it rolls up his chest.
All right, let's see this angle.
Here's the angle that looks, yep.
Yeah, it looks like it hits his forearm. Yeah, his right forearm. It caroms off, and his arm not exactly to his chest.
Yep.
You imagine
That's the
this will
moment
be
right there.
overturned?
I do, just because of the precedent that was set at the beginning of the game. And I think this is very much alike to what we saw at the beginning of the game when the handball was called against Stanford and Notre Dame was awarded a penalty kick. It's very much the same scenario in terms of, yes, the arm is close to the body, but it's not fully just in front of the chest. I would be surprised if we didn't see a penalty kick out of this, just based on what we saw in that first 45. Well, playoff soccer, nothing like it. Under 5 minutes to play.
This is a huge call.
A massive call. This is a call that no matter which way it goes, it will help dictate the ending of this game. If it's not called, then the odds are we're going to overtime potentially. And of course, if it is called, it gives Stanford a really good opportunity to put one away and put Notre Dame on their heels with under 5 minutes left.
I will say, Sarah, I am glad I'm not Sergio Gonzalez right now.
Absolutely. Well, it takes a certain demeanor. And that's just a clear handball, and that's one of those things that's so unfortunate in soccer, because if you're a defender, you can't be thinking about where your hand is in that moment.
Yeah, he's not looking to play that with his hand.
Of course, but we see these things called through VAR, and we see it all the time in the age of VAR. So I truly would be surprised if we didn't see this called as a penalty kick, but like you said, I don't envy the referee right now.
It is a penalty. Sergio Gonzalez with the decision, and Stanford has a golden opportunity to go up 2-1.
He's got a yellow card out of it in his pocket right now as well. Looks like that was awarded to the Stanford bench.
Yeah. I think Stanford will take that trade-off.
I think so.
So who's going to step to this spot? It looks like it's going to be Will Riley. Riley, a chance to be a hero for the Cardinal, looking for their first win since September. '86th minute. Riley v. Travassos. These two very familiar with each other. And Stanford has the lead. Riley right down the middle.
Absolutely gorgeous from Will Riley. It takes a certain demeanor to go right down the middle, but he does it. He sends Travassos one way, right down the middle for the senior captain. As a third penalty kick he's taken this season. He's now 2 for 3 on pens. He was 1 and 2, or 1 for 2 going in to that one, and Fighting Irish have a lot of work to do in a short amount of time.
That's his third goal this season. Comes with just under 5 minutes to play. Of course, the women's soccer team lost on a last-minute goal off a penalty against Cal. The initial shot was saved, but then on the rebound, Cal able to strike in the final 10 seconds or so.
That was something, I'd say maybe even the final 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Just no time left on the clock there for the Cardinal.
Fortunes reversed here for the men's team. And now, if you're Notre Dame, it's all numbers forward, yeah?
Absolutely. This is potentially your season. We talked about at the top of this broadcast. That's dangerous there. That's exactly the pressure you want, though. That it's kind of 50-50 if they can make the NCAA tournament without this win as well. So if they don't get this, they'll play the sit and wait game.
Yeah, RPI is 34. And for a 64-team field, 34 is good enough to get you in, but it's a 48-team field. And so fewer spots available. You have to sweat out the selection show. The Irish, Stanford with an RPI of 13, they're in, and they're looking for better seeding, chance to host a couple of games perhaps if they can make a deep run into the ACC tournament. Of course, a win over Clemson would certainly help matters, but they got to finish this one first. Into the box, it's headed out. Irish will get a throw. Notre Dame had a lead after a PK in the 22nd minute from one of the best goal scorers in the country, Matthew Rue, but conceded 12 minutes later. Jackson Keel and then Will Riley from the spot. 2 of our 3 goals have come off penalties in this one. One natural goal, if you will, in the run of play. And that one's cleared. Here's Bank, under 3 minutes. Try to chip it over the top. To Flores. Goes to ground. And he just lost it out.
Yeah, trying to get that foul called. I was surprised Fletcher Bank didn't just go to the corner on his side.
I was thinking the same thing.
Trying to get to the other side there, but some clock has wound off, and that's the name of the game for the Cardinal right now.
And Travasos is out of the box right now. Oh, that's very dangerous. This is just going to be chipped. Oh, just missed by De Flores, but Travasos nearly paid the ultimate price. Clock stoppage with Stanford making a sub. I mean, yeah, that was an adventure. So Alfonso Tenconi Gradius will give Stanford some fresh legs as Jackson Keel will go to the bench.
And perhaps a little protection from a potential yellow card for Jackson Keel, who's gotten into just a couple of shoulder-to-shoulders.
He doesn't need any more of those.
No.
They don't need his goal scoring right now. The Cardinal just was a rather cheap giveaway. And yeah, they're going to stop the clock. Stanford in no hurry to give Notre Dame a ball to throw in.
Yeah, if you're Notre Dame, you've got maybe one good opportunity left in this 145. You just have to get the ball forward right now.
Flanagan. Flag is up. Offside. And that will just wilt away another 15 seconds or so. And get ready for, yeah.
Now we've seen Rowan Schnebly get yellow carded for wasting time. It was actually
against Notre Dame.
Yeah, it was against Notre Dame. Referee signaled for the clock to stop, so we won't have to worry about that.
Good decision by Sergio Gonzalez. You don't want to see a goalkeeper just be able to kill 25 seconds.
I would absolutely agree, and especially in the college game when you play right down to the buzzer and there's no added stoppage time or injury time, it's nice that he can stop the clock so we're not wasting all of these minutes.
Stanford throwing. I wouldn't be surprised if the clock gets stopped again. Stanford does get the throw off rather expeditiously. Stanford's going to make a sub. I want to get some more fresh legs out there. Takashi Sasaki will come on. for Shane DeFlores. Cleary's out. Notre Dame's having a tough time getting out of their own end.
Yeah, not what you want right now for Notre Dame.
Hooper calmly done. And the clock is probably going to stop right about now. I don't know. Sergio doesn't call for it. Yeah. Yeah,
that might be our yellow card. There it is. The clock is still running, but we did see the signal for the clock to stop at a certain moment.
Notre
so
Dame,
we're going to have to go back and see when that was.
I think it was 13 seconds. Notre Dame is going to get a free kick. Because Schnebly was given a yellow. And
that I've
in
never
the
seen.
Area.
It's a yellow card to Rowan Schnebly, but I've never seen a free kick awarded inside the box. We might, maybe somebody can check me on that, but I've never seen a free kick awarded.
This is like 16 yards away from goal. This is not something I've ever seen, and I played soccer through college, and you see goalkeepers get time-wasting cards, but the penalty for that is not a free kick inside the box. Yes, it's indirect, but it's still a free kick inside the box. This is a new one on me too. And Travasos is in there. I mean, might as well. Notre Dame keeper in green. Stanford has a player on the ground, lying on the ground in Fletcher Bank behind the 4-player wall. So if Stanford defends this set piece, they're going to go on to the quarters and play Clemson. But this is a really nervy moment here for Stanford. The old free kick inside the box.
I'm still trying to figure out where the free kick part came from.
So it's either going to be Rue or Ferguson. Here we go, 12 seconds on the clock. All sorts of jostling for position.
Travasos right now is just trying to shield Schnebly so he can't see the ball.
Ferguson, and it takes the deflection, it goes in! Notre Dame ties it up with 10 seconds to go! Wow!
Well, I mentioned trying to block Schnebly's view, and that's exactly what happened. You can see Schnebly doesn't even get his eyes on the ball until it's basically going by him.
He never had a chance. Mitch Ferguson with a brilliant free kick. Well, technically, touched to him by Rue. And we are very, very likely going to extra time.
Well, when I said there were going to be goals in the second half, I didn't necessarily know that these were going to be how we got them.
In the 90th minute, Ferguson draws level. Here's a Hail Mary of a shot that... Oh! Unreal! Hooper! 1 second left! You gotta be kidding me!
I've never seen anything like this. Dylan Hooper chips the keeper from midfield as a buzzer beater to send Stanford into the next round of the NCAA, or excuse me, the ACC tournament.
That is the most unreal finish I have ever seen. I've been calling college soccer for 15 years, Sarah. A bombazo from 60 yards. Hoopa! How do you do? The fans in front of me saying, crazy. I agree.
I'm going to add one more thing to this. That's his first ever collegiate goal.
What a time to get it, Sarah.
What a time. But hold your breath, Kevin, because there's 1 second left.
There still is 1 second.
And anything can happen, truly. We've seen everything. So they're going to video review about what? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, maybe to see time.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I mean, Travasos, he was like right there too. It just went through his hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that he's unfortunately going to be thinking about for a long time. You have to feel for him because that's something he's done time and time again. All you have to do is parry it over the goal or catch it. It really did look like it just went through his two hands. That's a mental slip is all it is. It's not at all a ball he can't get to. He was backpedaling a little bit, which makes it more difficult, but that's just one of those things that Dylan Hooper caught them off guard, and specifically caught Travasos off guard. And boy, these stands erupted.
Here's the replay. Una vez más para ustedes. All right, just unbelievable. Maybe 2 seconds left, maybe.
It was the backpedaling, and I think Travasos thought he had read it in the air correctly, that it was going over the crossbar, so he didn't think to even get his hands on it, and then it went.
Yeah, it's 2 seconds. Now you see, Stanford's playing prevent defense. They've got 3 guys on the goal line, across the face of goal, behind Schnebley.
Yeah, that's something that you would never see unless what just happened.
And that'll do it. Stanford wins in the most of dramatic fashions.
Certainly the weirdest